Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And in today's video, we'll discuss the latest in Texas Tech men's basketball as the NBA withdrawal window has officially closed and some interesting names connected to Texas Tech have officially placed their name in the transfer portal. But I'd be remiss not to mention, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel and join the fastest growing Texas Tech community here on YouTube. And also, I know it's not basketball related, but we've got to talk about it. Texas Tech football will play under the lights in week 2 and likely a top 20 matchup against the Oregon Ducks. I'm really excited. I know y'all are as well, but let me know y'all are excited by simply liking the video, because I don't know the last time I've actually been this excited about a football game for Texas Tech at Jones AT&T Stadium, not in the Big 12, if that makes sense, an out-of-conference opponent. I have not been this excited in a long time. Let me know if y'all are excited by simply liking the video. But hey, let's jump into this, because there's a couple of guys that Texas Tech has been at least reached out to or been connected with, I guess is the proper way to say this. But as we know, the NBA draft process in terms of withdrawing to keep eligibility for next year ended yesterday. It is June 1st. So now this is where another recruiting cycle really picks up big. Let's start out with Grant Nelson. This is a guy that I've had a ton of questions on, not only in the comments here, but over on Twitter as well. My handle's right there if you want to go follow me over there. Listen, Tech reached out early on. And if we're being completely honest, this was a long shot from the jump. And for those that don't know, Grant Nelson is the 7-foot wing from North Dakota State that has just got all kind of unicorn tendencies. He is a legitimate freak when it comes down to it, right? But it was a long shot for Texas Tech, and it looks like it's going to remain that much more of a long shot, as some of the schools affiliated with him are Alabama, Baylor, Florida State, and Iowa. I don't think Texas Tech is really in the mix here. They did reach out for him, but as we know, things can change quickly in modern college basketball when it comes to, hey, who's in the mix and who's not. It's called you throw bags out there. Guys leave unexpectedly. Guys return, right? So that's something that needs to be talked about when it comes down to it. Now, the other guy that I'm about to talk about is firmly in the mix for Texas Tech. And you can see on the bottom of the screen the schools right now currently going after Creighton forward, 6'8", 225 transfer Arthur Kaluma. He officially withdrew from the NBA draft process before the deadline yesterday on May 31st. Jeff Barzello of ESPN was the first to announce this, and he was also the one that came out with the list of schools that is going after Arthur Kaluma, and Texas Tech made that list. Some of the other ones include Alabama, Texas Tech, obviously, and then Kentucky. But it's interesting because Alabama had some guys return. Do they have scholarships available? That's more of a, hey, do you follow Alabama question. I'm not up to date with their scholarships. The other interesting one in terms of the Big 12 in the state of Texas is that of the Longhorns. The name to watch was Mitchell yesterday in terms of, is he going to stay in the draft or is he going to come back? He instead came back to the University of Texas. And I think, if I did my math right, that takes basically away the potential of Arthur Kaluma, right? But also at the same time, you can finagle scholarships any way you want. And I think Texas will be in the mix here. But all I'm trying to say is this: Tech is firmly in the mix for Arthur Kaluma. Do not get it twisted. And if anybody says otherwise, they are wrong. They are trying wholeheartedly to go after this guy, and rightfully so. He's one of the most impactful wings currently in the portal, and I think Tech has a solid shot. Now, it's going to be a big-time recruiting battle. There's no doubt about that. As I mentioned, Alabama, Texas, the Red Raiders are involved, and then Kentucky, and then there's other schools as well, right? I expect him to set up his official visits relatively quickly after talking to schools, and then go on those visits and make a decision here by, I would probably say, the 4th of July to try and get this summer too, right? But as of right now, I'd expect him to take a visit to Texas Tech, right? Obviously, things are very fluid, but I think Texas Tech is firmly going to be in the mix for Arthur Kaluma until they're really not. As I've stated in other videos, Kaluma would be an instant impact guy for the Red Raiders, a plug and play, whether you want him at the 4 or the 3. I think he'd probably play at the 3 for the Red Raiders. He'd be an instant impact guy, and him and Pop would be a very solid duo for the Red Raiders. So I've got to ask you this. I know it's early on and there's really no way of knowing right now, but let me know, bottom line below. Will Texas Tech land Arthur Kaluma in the transfer portal? Y for yes, N for no. Again, will Texas Tech land Arthur Kaluma in the transfer portal? Y for yes or N for no. All right, let's jump into the coaching update. I had a couple of people ask me about this, and there's really not a whole lot of like definitive things going around right now. I will say that. But there are some names that I've heard, and Ben McCollum leads the way, but there's nothing for certain in terms of, hey, this guy is going to be on staff right now. So let's start with Ben McCollum. Actually, let's not. Let's start with Grant McCaslin, who was at a Red Raider Club event here in DFW, actually right across the street from me here in downtown yesterday. And he was talking to local NBC affiliate here about, hey, what are, donors and fans asking you about the most? And it's coaching staff, right? And I'll admit, I said a couple times on this channel that I thought this staff would be together by Memorial Day. Well, Memorial Day is coming past. We're now into June. And it's interesting to say the least to me, right? You got summer classes going on. You got a little bit more time to spend with these kids in terms of the off-season program, the allotted hours that the NCAA allows you to have each week, which I believe is 8. Do not quote me on that, but I believe it's 8. It kind of fluctuates, it feels like, all the time. But the most important aspect of your staff in terms of coaching right now, I know a lot of people don't agree with me on it, is your strength and conditioning coach, because they can spend as much time as they want with the team. So that's a big one. Tech's got that in place, right? But Ben McCollum is going to be in this thing until he's not, right? And I've said that a couple times as well. Listen, he's still a name to monitor. He's going to be in the running until basically the staff is full and he's not on it, or he takes himself out of the running, or he's on the staff. There's only one of 3 options here. Okay, that's really what it comes down to when it's Ben McCollum in Texas Tech. That being said, I did mention the Red Raider Club thing in Dallas. And Grant McCaslin said, hey, we're working on it. We're trying to get the best staff. And he also mentioned to the Lubbock Avalanche Journal not too long ago, they're trying to land the big one. In my opinion, I think the big one is Ben McCollum. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. But I still think, again, like I just said, Ben McCollum will be in the running for this staff until the staff is complete. He's not on it. He takes his name out of the running, or he's on the staff. Those are the 3 options. I get it. That's Captain Obvious type stuff, but that's really what it comes down to for me. I do think we'll hear about the staff soon, though. I really do, because, again, you're going to want this to happen here relatively soon so you can get your coaches situated. They can build those relationships, and then it's full steam ahead. Really when you're starting to talk about midway through summer 2, for those that don't know how the summer schedule works in college, summer 1 is basically June. Summer 2 is July, and then boom, you're back in school in August, right? That's basically how it goes. They feed into each other a little bit, like they go into July a little bit, they go into August a little bit in summer 2, but really that's really what it comes down to. It's about a 35-ish day window. Okay, you're going to want those guys to be on campus to build the relationships with the players, because once fall starts, it is full steam ahead, and you are practicing left, right, and center to get ready for your Big 12 slate, right? I will say this too to wrap up the video. Don't be surprised if Texas Tech adds a coach that is connected to a current Texas Tech assistant in Choke from a high major or major prep program. Do not be surprised if that happens. I wouldn't be surprised if that news comes out whenever, but I do think that that is a viable possibility in terms of the Red Raider staff, that they add a high major prep school coach to their coaching staff. All right, that's going to do it. But one more time, I want you guys to let me know down below, do you think Texas Tech will land Arthur Kaluma via the transfer portal? We got Murphy in the background going to lay by the front door. You love to see the dog get into the shot as well, but that's going to do it. I am RC Maxfield, reminding you, if you want the latest news when it comes to Texas Tech men's basketball all year long, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, like the video to stay in the know on Texas Tech all year long right here on the Back to 12 podcast channel.